we are entering is our bathroom of our village, my friends. But the first part of our tour, it is actually that pool down below. That pool down there is known as Whakarewarewa. Whakarewarewa in English, two waters. The reason we call this pool behind me two waters, the people here, they know that the water from this pool, the water from our cooking pool we just came from, and the water from that steam over there, all three of these pools share the same water source. Thus the name Two Waters, Whakarewarewa, to remember that connection. Now, Two Waters, that pool there, believe it or not, our original bathing pool of the village in the past. The water level came right up to where our footpath is now, ladies and gents. However, in the 1900s we had a bit of an earthquake. The water level, of course, disappeared. We had a big overflow that came from our cooking pool as well. That flow of colours going into our pool was our overflow. And so what the people done, we constructed that man-made channel out of silica right behind me, sent all our overflow of cooking water right through into our bathrooms. The colours you do see on our pool, they are starting to fade at the moment. The white greyish on the further end, silica. The brown, iron, and orangey striped copper. There is a pink colour we will soon see over there, cinnabar. And the yellow, what you smell, the sulphur, my friends. Our 5 minerals in our waters today. Now, I'd like to welcome you over to our bathrooms. Welcome, 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 my friends. Now, ladies and gents, these baths here, they have a bit of a fancy name. The name for these baths, the oil baths. The reason we call these the oil baths, when the water pops up at the cooking pool, those 5 minerals that follow the water to the top, they are rock hard because of all the heat underneath. When the water flows through that channel, the water cools, of course, but the minerals soften as well. When they hit these baths, the minerals become a very oily texture in our water, very oily, thus the name the oil baths, my friends. Now, for our younger ones, if it's okay with your guardians or parentals, more than welcome with me. For our older ones, if you want to, go along to the sides of our channels that are available. Just dip your fingers in the water, give them a bit of a rub, may be able to experience that oily texture inside, my friends. Have a try, have a try. The water might be a little hot, and if it is, got a lot of cooling down to do, my friends. And also, while you are trying our waters, another positive here besides cooking and drinking water, these waters also carry healing properties as well. They carry cures of aches, pains, the flu. Let it be known to all of you right now, the literal truth, even cures of old age. A lot of the people around here, they look a hell of a lot younger than what they should. That's because of all our waters here, my friends. Now, we have 2 rules for our baths, 1 routine. The 2 rules are, number 1, no matter who, no matter when, everyone in the village, we all bathe together. The reason why, every single family inside of this village, we are all closely related under one common ancestor, Wahia. Because of that, more like one big family inside of one big house. The second rule, no one, and I mean no one, bathes with clothing on in these baths whatsoever. The reason why, this is how we've been bathing for hundreds of years. What we will do for our women, they will just have a towel wrapped around them as they entered our baths, slowly release the towel, let it slip into the water. For us men, no towel needed around here, eh? 1 hand if you're lucky, 2 hands if you're not so lucky. Walk straight in, oh, out, that's how you get in over here for us males, nice and simple. Also, there is a sign over there, no bathing permitted from 8:30 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. The reason for this, when the families come here 5 in the arvo, they shouldn't get burnt because the water's hot, they shouldn't freeze because it's cold. Must be just right temperature, just the right time. If the water is too hot when the families arrive, us Māori, we would use a very, very expensive mechanism we call the hose or the tap. That blue instrument by our green bin there, hook it up, spray all our baths with cold water. Simple method, effective results. Māori ingenuity, Māori brilliance, my friends. This is our oil baths. It is Whakarewarewa. I'll let you now know, get your cameras ready. We are in for a bit of a spectacle. We'll make our way onto our lookout now, Mike.
Linda.
I believe it.
Wala ko ngay. Yang ngay kang kai. Ayos kang kalema yala ko wili. Mangay. Oh wow.
Ladies and gents, please don't be afraid to take as much photos, as much videos, even while I'm talking. It is completely fine. I'd rather you did than not, ladies and gents. Take as much photos, as much videos as you possibly can. Right here is our lookout, and in front of us we have our beautiful guys who are sitting on their chairs today. 3 guys in total, ladies and gents. Now, 2 of the 3 geysers are both of them erupting on the top. Our third geyser is that little bit of steam flying off the right side of our terrace. That steam there is our third geyser on the right side of our terrace. The first geyser I will talk about, the largest of the exploding lot, the left of the 2 that sits on the top, Kohutsu. Kohutsu in English, big splash. And the reason we call that geyser big splash, when it erupts, it will reach a height of 30 meters. It will not drop. Kohutsu will hold that height for at least a few consistent minutes and then drop. Kohutsu, the largest exploding geyser in the southern hemisphere of our entire world today, my friends. That is Kohutsu there. Now the height you see is 30 meters standard, ladies and gents. The largest exploding geyser. One thing to note about this small area we are looking at, back in the 1900s there were over 30 geysers that resided here, going off all at once 24/7, 7 days of the week. The standard height, ladies and gents, 90 meters. However, in the 1900s, our council of Rotorua, they decided to build what they call bore, B-A-double-L bore. What it was, over 320 pipelines would be put in place. Those pipelines would siphon geothermal water and send it into the residential districts of Rotorua for them to use. The only problem was, from over 30 geysers in our region, we now have the last 3 that we can witness today, my friends. After 10 years of letting those pipelines run, our council here, they finally woke up to what they were doing wrong. They closed down only 120 of those pipelines to see if our activity would return. It did return, but not inside of the Whakarewarewa. Instead, the activity returned inside of the residential districts of Rotorua City. If you were to head back inside of the city centre of Rotorua, you would come across a beautiful geothermal park known as Kuiro. That there is the result of what happened here in the 1900s with those pipelines, ladies and gents. The lesson out of it, never mess with Mother Nature or she will bite you back twice-fold. And also the same reason we now have our last 3 geysers today, my friends. The other 200 pipelines that were never closed, they are still operational, especially to this day. You might want to come back here in the next 10 years' times to marvel at our geysers. They won't be here when use return, ladies and gents. That's the reason I say, even while I'm talking, it is completely fine. Take as much photos, as much videos as you possibly can while we are here, my friends. Now that is Kohutsu. The second geyser I will talk about, the right of the 2 that sits on the top, also in full eruption, Te Tohu, ladies and gents, beyond the board, Te Tohu. Te Tohu in English, the sign or the indicator. The reason we call that geyser the sign or the indicator, when it erupts, it will reach a height of 30 meters. Oh, it will only reach a short height of around 5 to 7 meters. However, if it can hold that short height for at least once without dropping for 25 minutes, that should give us a sign or indication big splash is going to erupt. These guys just work hand in hand, and that's the reason I say we would have caught our guys at just the right time, ladies and gents. And our lucky last to mention, all that steam rising on the right side of our terrace, see on the board, kereru. That guys are there, kereru is the Māori name for our native bird, our native wood pigeon. The reason we call it kereru, sometimes when it erupts, it will show itself in the shape of a bee or wings as we took it. Thus the name kereru after our native bird, our native wood pigeon, my friends. There is more to go on about this area here. However, we'll talk about it further along the rest of our village. I'll let you know now, the next part of our tour we're going to. Those with glasses, just like back at the cooking pool, please keep note. Your glasses will probably steam up down here as you go down. You'll probably end up walking in the wrong direction, so just watch your footing. And this pool we're going to, literally the hottest, the most dangerous attraction of our day, my friends. Welcome down. We'll continue the rest of our tour. Welcome down.
Linda, hold the camera. Linda.
Your kids?
Yeah.
My brother and I quite like that too when we were little.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my friend said take them there. Good for school to learn.
Welcome over, ladies and gents. Welcome over.
Oh wow. They actually boil. Oh. They actually boil.
See anything?
Whoa, it's boiling. Can you see the boiling water? Whoa. Boil. It's right there. Yeah, you know when you put your feet there. Wow.
Like a soup
Wow, so hot.
This is literally the hottest, the most dangerous attraction of our day. This pool here is Koro-tio-tio. Koro-tio-tio in English, grumpy old man. That's the name for our pool there, my friends, grumpy old man. Now, when I talk about heat, I am talking well beyond 110 degrees Celsius, well beyond 200 degrees Fahrenheit, well beyond boiling lead. An example, the men of our village, they would go in the forest to hunt. Some of them would come back with their bird or their animal, bring it to this pool, dunk it in once, maybe twice. When the animal is pulled out, the hair or the feathers on it fall off with ease, then you can process the meat. You get a pulled pork, you get a shrieky bacon, and a full stomach as well, all from our pool here, my friends. That is how the men would use this pool. The woman would use our pool as well, the steam in particular, more so than us men. What the woman would do, go to the sides of any of our pools in the region, dip your face into the steam, giving yourself a beautiful facial, of course. When the women step out, believe it or not, the skin on the people here, it is so beautiful, so smooth, so radiant. There is a lot of beauty when it comes to our pool here, my friends, but also danger as well. When I talk about danger, this is what I mean. At one time, there was a very large bridge that went over our pool. It landed on our walkway we had just come off. And that was so you could look directly into this pool from above. One day he decided to blow. And when he did, well, I think we all know the rest of that story. No more bridge after that. That is how dangerous he is, especially to this day. The last thing to note, it is quite hard to see because of all the steam, but on the rocky sides of our pool is our fifth mineral of our waters, our pink colour cinnabar. The same mineral that made up our pink terraces 30 metres high 200 years ago, known as Otu Kapularangi, now resides inside of Koro-tio-tio, my friends. This is our grumpy old man, literally the hottest attraction of our day, and getting a bit too hot now as well. We'll start making our way into the more cooler parts of our tour, away from all this geothermal activity. Come along, my friends. Come. Those who want to, my friends, are more than welcome in here. lot of shade around the back here as well, my friends, a lot of shade. If you want to utilise it, you are more than welcome. And for those who want to use, are more than welcome inside here, my friends, more than welcome. We have a lot of room around the back here, my friends. Now, welcome over, ladies and gents. Now, very quickly, we will stop here, talk about this beautiful man. The name of this man is Mauri Ora King. Mauri Ora King. We call him Koro Mau today. Koro Mau. He was one of the chiefs of our village and our tribe. He passed only a few years ago, 2015. So say, every single day, no matter who my groups are, no matter from where, no matter how big or how small, no matter how bad the weather is, I always bring my groups here, every single time. It isn't compulsory for my business, but it is for a very personal reason. The story I tell here, it goes like this. 1900s, just like all other indigenous groups around the world, Māori here. As I am a Māori, I can speak for my people. Māori here. Children from the ages 4 and up. If you were caught speaking your native tongue even once, you were whipped, you were lashed. No excuse. For cultural traditions, you tried to practice anything of who you were at home, you were caught just once, well, jail time for you, no excuse. That was the life of a Māori in the 1900s, child and adult. That is what the Māori people had to listen to for well over 200 years, and I think we all know that song very, very well by now. It would still be like this to this day. None of what we've experienced so far would have been available at all if it wasn't for this beautiful man here and our children as well. In the 1980s, all the chiefs of our tribes, they put aside their differences. They came together to solve this issue we Māori had on our shoulders. Their solution, right over the stark green fence, ladies and gents, there is an orange building inside you will know of as kindergarten. Us here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we call it Ko Hangareo language nest. Everything from letters to numbers to shapes, all taught in our native tongue, all in te reo Māori. That was the solution our elders came up with. They saw that their generation wouldn't have any of this in the end, so they give it to their grandchildren, to us. Because of that, it has now been left for our younger ones, and when I say younger ones, I mean 4 to 5 year olds, to pick up the pieces of our elders that were left behind in the 1900s. Because of that, it has now been left up to our 4 to 5 year olds to save and uphold the last of our ancient culture and our people. This is where the lessons of my story come in. They go for all our ages. Respect to our children for everything they have to uphold, especially today. Me being a Māori personally, my friends, as I was growing up in this open world, I had no support whatsoever except for my own family, my own tribe. It was very, very difficult, and yet here I am standing today. And also respect to our elders as well for everything they gave us, especially when we weren't here. Hey, to be very honest with you now, my friends, here we all are. We are going right throughout all the fruits of all their hard work, but they can't do that with us anymore. This is the true reason I stop every single one of my groups, rain, hail or sunshine, personally, every single day, to tell the story of the Māori people that should be heard finally after well over 200 years of silence, and to pay respect to our elders and to our children that they so much deserve as well. I also leave this as a personal message for all my visitors, knowing the amount of people we have got from all across our world and from over our hills as well, to be unified here in this space together with me. This is the true reason I thank all of you for coming, ladies and gents. The beauty of people you've brought to my home here, and I thank you for that. And I also thank you for listening in as well. Thank you very, very much, Koro. I will see you later on. Other than that, welcome up to this house here, my friends. We'll very quickly cover our house, make our way into the back half of our